Welcome to Red Chair Chats, where we share real stories of resilience, growth, and success from the agents and leaders of Keller Williams Greater Springfield. I'll open this for you because it's pretty bad.
At least we don't get it on our white shirt.
I know. Oh no. Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh, there it goes. Hey, it's Rachel with Keller Williams, and we are back with today's guest, Ashlynn Blaylock on Red Chair Chats. Ashlynn, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah. So Ashlynn has been with Keller Williams a little over 2.5 years, and through this journey, we've been able to know each other and really connect. And about a month ago, we sat in my office, and she was sharing with me some of her story about what she is seeing in her real estate business, and I thought she'd be the perfect guest today. So Ashlynn, before we get started on our conversation previously, tell me a little bit about how you got into real estate and then your journey at Keller Williams.
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband and I actually bought our house in 2017, and it was a total remodel.
Okay.
It was awful, actually. So that's kind of what intrigued my interest initially. And then he also was working on the road, so I wanted to do something that gave me adult interaction whenever my son was in school, that kind of thing, just to fill my time.
Yeah.
So that started out as a part-time time filler gig, and now it's what I do full time.
Yeah.
Because I love the hustle so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashlynn actually has a really cool job that she helps with her husband. What is that?
So he actually owns RNA Custom. It's a welding business, so he does handrails, mono railings, anything metal related. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So
It's funny, I love to see Ashlynn's Facebook or Instagram, and she is actually welding side by side with her husband Ryan, so that's pretty cool. And you've been able to help him with a lot of really great projects, and you helped him during COVID, right?
yeah, actually during COVID, because our kids were out of school, I took that time and went to New Mexico and was his welder's helper for about 6 months.
Wow.
And pipelined with him, and that was an experience in itself.
Yeah.
Definitely learned a lot of things. Would go back in a heartbeat, to be completely honest with you. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun, but I definitely thrive better in real estate, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so then you came to Keller Williams, and tell me what has happened since you've been at Keller Williams.
Yeah, so since I've come to Keller Williams, my friend and I always discuss, we're not just here to sell real estate, we're here to build a business.
Yeah.
And Keller Williams offers that vehicle to get us there. To scale it, the resources, the culture here, it's been really great. So
That's such a really great point, because a lot of real estate agents, when they get in the business, they're like, great, I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And it's, congratulations, you're a business owner. And what does it mean to run a business? And there's a lot of wins and also a lot of challenges of being a business owner. And I'm sure you see that within real estate and also with Ryan's business as he scales and grows that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just, trying to keep the systems in place, maintaining, riding the waves is what we like to call it, because there are going to be highs and lows. That's just the reality of life.
Yeah.
But it's how you handle and navigate that is how you persevere and get through.
Yeah. So in our conversation, we were talking about how at the beginning of your real estate career, you were really prevalent in open houses.
Yeah.
And you stepped away from those a little bit, and now you're getting back into them.
Yes.
Tell me about what has really worked for you in open houses.
So open houses is really where I built my business. I'm not a cold calling person. I'm really not a door knocker, to be honest. I'm probably a little shy, but when it comes to hosting an open house, this is your time to shine. This is really your time to show buyers and sellers what you're able to do. So that's feather flags, that's signs, that's social media, that's putting signs out early enough so that way
such a key component.
People actually know about it rather than doing it 30 minutes to an hour before. That honestly makes a really big difference, because you're going to catch traffic, between now and then. They're going to do drive-bys, and be prepared to come. And
we talk about signs, and it's like one of those things of is that necessary? It's an extra expense potentially. Sometimes they get stolen or taken down depending on the HOA. And I've been to open houses before, and I couldn't even tell where the open house was.
Exactly.
Because there was no signs.
Exactly.
And so it's all about the visibility of it and catching people's attention as they're driving by.
Yeah. So signage is a huge thing. Also, sign-in sheets. I don't do an iPad, and I don't do a checklist with everybody's information. Everybody gets an individual little small clipboard, so that way they can kind of walk around with it, and there is a section on there for them to make comments if they wish. I don't really push it. But that way, whenever I they're done touring, I'm able to kind of intentionally have a conversation with them. And then for me, I can turn it over and make notes about that couple or family specifically.
Yeah. But you mentioned that to me of like, you always want in that conversation, if they're mentioning other family names or dogs or kids, you're always writing that down. So when you talk to them, you can bring that back up again so they know that you are actually listening to them.
That, and we're in a market right now where we have an abundance of inventory. Yeah. So that along with that is more open houses. Along with that are more faces for these people to meet. So what are you doing to stand out so that way they know that, you remember them, that you were paying attention and listening. And that's how I've gotten a lot of my business, is being intentional.
That's such a good
from
point.
Open houses.
That's such a good point. So was there something that made you want to get back into open houses, or were you just saying, okay, I had success at it before, I want to get back to going to the basics, and open houses was what did it for you?
So I started out strong doing that. Then, I got it in a busy season of my life to where, because I have a 4-year-old, I was, with him at the time, and that's hard to juggle too.
I'm learning all about that right now.
It just, again, highs and lows. So I gravitated away from it, but now he's older. I feel like I'm at a point in my business to where I want to generate more clients and generate more relationships. And, that's the driving force behind it. So.
And March was a really great month for you this year.
It was a really great month. Yeah.
And was that stemmed from open houses?
Honestly, it was. In fact, one of the open houses that I did was on a snowy day. Like, it was in Clever on acreage, dumped of snow. I had to drive my truck up and down the driveway a few times to make a path, and I was like, there's no way.
Dedication.
There's no way someone's coming out here, but I'm not going to cancel because I had a lender partner with me that day who also still committed to showing up. So I got the salt, prepared it, shoveled it, did the best we could, and I actually just closed on a transaction from that open house.
Wow.
A $700,000 plus listing just from showing up and putting in the work. And
so find you an agent that's willing to drive out to far away from Springfield, drive their truck up and down the driveway just to clear it for the open house.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So you utilize a lender partner being there with you.
Do.
And I think that's a great added benefit. So that way, if one, your open house is busy, you have someone else that can also talk to people that way your sellers know who was in the house. The second part is safety too.
It is, especially being out on acreage and being a little bit remote. And, sometimes open houses are slow, and it's nice to build that relationship because, us as realtors, we always work with lenders, but it's not often that we get to spend 2 hours with this specific individual. And if you're going to be doing a lot of business, that's the best way to get to know somebody and really learn how they do business, just, outside of normal everyday conversation. So I love building relationships with my vendors in that aspect too.
So in terms of professionalism and making yourself stand out, because clients are going to multiple open houses, how do you make yourself and your brand stand out from others?
Okay, so the feather flags, all of the signage, I kind of go all out with snacks. Okay. I love snacks personally. So if no one's coming, I'm definitely eating a snack or two while I'm there. In different variety of drinks. And I always provide farm fresh eggs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So obviously we have a little funny farm is what I call it, but we have lots of chickens, some cows, anyway, all of that good stuff. But I bring little half dozen farm fresh eggs just for people to take home.
Wow.
And I have a little sticker on it with my business information. So, it's tangible.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Right off business expense.
Yeah.
Running your funny farm is a business expense. So what has motivated you to stay in the real estate industry? Because there's been a lot of changes, especially in the short time that you have been in the real estate industry. How have you stayed motivated?
That's a really great question because I got licensed in 2019, but I didn't even really come full feet in until 2021, which was whenever we were experiencing the 3% and 4% rates and you were writing 17 to 20 offers because you had not all cash. Anyway, all of that good stuff. So I came in when things were really, really good. And I did see a lot of agents and even friends that I knew kind of fall off after that because it was not as easy getting business. But keeping myself motivated, it's my family, building a legacy for my kids, I see this as a business and not just a side hustle. Yeah. So sticking with your systems and sticking with plugging into people, especially plugging in here, that was another big motivating factor for why
Yeah.
I wanted to come to Keller Williams, because of the culture. And that helps, ride any wave, in my opinion.
That's cool. It's funny, we talk about COVID like it was yesterday.
Yes.
But really it was 5 years ago.
I know.
And then we're talking about 2021 and that was 4 years ago. And you're like, man, time has flown. And yet we still talk about that market like it was
yesterday.
We just encountered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as we went into a more of a skill-based market, what are some of the challenges that you are personally seeing?
So a lot of, that's a great question. Let me think about that for a minute. I haven't really.
Yeah. Well, and that's where it becomes, challenges are so different to everybody else, right?
I have noticed, honestly, that inspection challenges are a really big thing now.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing a lot of people believing that we're in the COVID era and still trying to price their home, and that we're not appreciating as fast as we were year to year then.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge that I've noticed.
I think that a lot of it comes from like expectations. What are clients' expectations? How do you properly set them? And when you meet them in the open house, I'm sure that's where you were able to build a lot of that connection with them.
Yeah, because you have more time, and it's more than just a review. It's more than just a business card left somewhere. It's a time for that person to get to know you. And there are a lot of different personalities out there, and I know that I'm not fit for everybody, just as every client's not fit for me.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I believe that open houses are really your time to show what you can do.
Yeah. You're really summing it up, because I've heard a lot of agents creating their avatar, right? Because like you said, not everybody's for you and you're not for them. And so you're able to narrow down who your ideal client is. And you'll be able to quickly see that through open houses.
Yeah. Yeah. I do believe that, but to an extent, I have a variety of clients, I feel like. I have worked with several first-time home buyers, but I've also worked with a lot of empty nesters and people downsizing and that phase in their life. So that's a very big, spectrum, in my opinion. And I love both. I don't really think I have a preference, because I just love building connections and relationships with people. And as long as you're doing that, through the real estate transaction, that really is what is another motivating factor for me.
So as you're thinking like what's next as you're building your business, what does that look like?
Well, I'm an independent agent, and I just want to scale and build my business as big as I can take it.
Yeah. And it seems like through it, obviously being an independent agent, there are some challenges, and yet what I really loved and appreciate about you the most is like you're still a mom, you're still a wife.
Yes.
And you really hold that to a high regard, and you're always putting that first.
Yes.
That's hard to balance that.
It is, and that's why there are highs and lows, because sometimes whenever the mom things are pulling me that direction, or it's the sports, or it's the school events, like I want to show up and be there for my kids first, always.
Yeah.
And I love that I have a business that I'm able to build in kind of life by design, because I'm never missing a game. I'm never missing a practice or a school volunteer opportunity. So, my kids and my husband, they come first. But
that's the best thing about real estate.
Yeah.
And I think through that, I've recently got a higher appreciation of being in the real estate industry.
Yes,
just
you
as like
have.
we've had ours, it's like, okay, you don't want to miss those moments. And I'm so thankful that Trey was able to be there with us in that time.
Absolutely.
And so, and you're able to still be fulfilled as having a wife, a mom, but also a booming business too.
It's so manageable and easy to do it all, as long as you have the proper systems in place to get you there and to keep organized, because it is easy to have everything a mess. And then it's really hard to thrive in those moments. And I have been one that I'm like, okay, get it together. Like, we need to fix this. Because I like pen on paper too.
Yeah.
I'm not all electronic. Just like the open house sheets, I hold on to every single one. And I stick them away in a file. Like, I like having paper and writing things down. Like, that's another really...
What's your best system or tool that you use that you feel like helps keep you organized?
Voice memos while driving.
Really? Okay, tell me more.
So you just, honestly, we spend a lot of time in the car.
Yeah.
That is my biggest thing. I do a lot of thinking when I'm in the car driving, because that's often when I'm alone. And so I do a lot of my reflection and aspirations, that kind of thing. And the voice to memo thing is a lifesaver, because then if you have a thought, or if it's something you want to go with but you're driving, you can't write it down, and you can't text it. So I just file it away in my notes section and then know to revisit it later. And
I love that.
that's actually been a really big thing for me that's been helpful.
What's one of the biggest wins you've had in your real estate business recently?
I mean, the open houses, honestly.
Yeah.
I had 22 groups come through my last open house.
22.
Yes, 22 groups. And
that's so crazy, because I hear so many times people are saying my open houses aren't working. The open houses aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And here you are, you had 22 groups come in.
Yep.
How did you keep track of everybody? Gosh.
Well, okay, that, again, a second person is where that matters. And I didn't have one that day.
Oh, no.
I didn't have one that day. It was a lot, and I'll be honest, I didn't get to talk to everybody like I had anticipated or hoped to, because there is a lot of people coming through. But
22. Wow.
Yeah.
And did you do anything special?
Just the feather flags, I'm telling you, that is where it's at. I don't know why, but the balloons, those work too, but I'm just
the flags.
I'm a flag person, so those work. Multiple of them, the signs, because people also, it's weird if you don't have anything in the yard other than open house and the door shut and there's not a storm door. Yeah. And people, it's weird. They don't know, should they come on in? Should they knock? You want to be approachable, and if they see a house that's got all of the things in front, they've got to be thinking, oh, this person's cool. Yeah. I would be if I was.
They got that feathered flag.
Exactly. And then a little note on the door, too. That also helps, just to set the expectation up front that you will be expected to sign in.
I think the flag may help, because if we're driving and you're lost in your thoughts, you may not see the sign. Interesting.
Yeah. It's garage sale season too right now.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever had an open house during a garage sale, neighborhood one? I bet that would be so wild.
Yeah, it would. I have not done that yet.
So what advice would you give to another agent that is on the fence of wanting to do an open house, or maybe just in real estate in general?
Just do it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And I still, to this day, Rachel, struggle with that. Just do it. Just post the content. Just host the open house. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Yeah. So my biggest key thing would be just do it and to show up. And if you have any questions, call me. Yeah. I'm always a resource, or call someone else. Yeah. It's always fun to do it with, multiple people. That's
such a great perspective. And we kind of joked about that when we were talking about social media content. Yes. And you're like, I just need to do it. I just need to post it. And you're like, I think I have the microphones in my bag right now. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, just do it. And I think we get in our head a lot of the time.
It is. But, at the same time, everybody's posting now on social media. It's not as rare as it was even a year and a half ago. Everybody's doing it. So the open houses, just show up, do it, and stay motivated and stay committed. And even if you have a couple of dry open houses, it's okay. Yeah. That's part of the business. But just continue. It's 2 hours out of your day.
That's great.
Maybe 3 if you add in all of the others. But yeah, just do it.
Okay. Is there anything that you've done consistently over time that you feel like has made the biggest impact?
Following up with all of my previous clients.
So let's talk follow up really quick. So you have the open house on Sunday. When do you talk with them again, and what does that cadence look like?
I don't do anything that evening.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of other agents do their stuff that evening, and they're going to get bombarded with texts, emails, all of the things. So I usually wait till Monday morning. Okay. Or even Monday afternoon. That's what's been working for me. That's whenever people are answering their phone and responsive, actually. And connecting with them. Hey, I'm Ashlynn Blaylock. Yeah. I met you at my open house, and go into a little bit of what we talked about. Or, hey, I know that you live in Fordland, or I know that you had 3 boys, all of that kind of thing, and relate to them. And then more times than not, they're willing to get back with you, rather than just saying, hey, do you have any feedback or interest from the open house? Yeah. Love to hear from you. Yeah. Hope you hire me.
That's good.
Don't do that.
And that's the great part about having the clipboards, or being able to take notes on them. Yeah. So it's making that more personal touch.
Because on the sign-in sheet, that's line by line, how are you able to keep track of everybody? Yeah. Especially if you have even more than 7 groups come through.
Yep.
I mean, really.
A lot of people, a lot of conversations.
Oh, that is a lot. Or even on the iPad, it works for a lot of other people, but for me, I need to remember somehow and write down some way. And so that's what really helps. And I feel like that is what makes my follow-ups more intentional.
That's great.
So sticking with that, and even if it's been a year or 6 months, as long as you've touched base with them at some point or another.
Okay, so walk me through like what a week would look like. From when do you put out your signs, start the open house communication, to the follow-up? What do that day cadence look like?
So I will decide like by Wednesday or Thursday. I think you should start marking it in Flex,
Okay.
and then start advertising then. And then I put signs out. I like to put them out Friday night.
Okay.
Just so that way people, when they get off work, and even all day Saturday, coming and going to the neighborhood, or even out riding around. That's what a lot of people like to do these days in the evening, now that the daylight's longer.
Thank goodness.
I know. And, push it on social media, and then show up Sunday. Be early.
Yep.
Because I have not been early as I had hoped before, and you have people sitting outside watching you fumble all of your snacks and stuff inside. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
But doing the open house, and then Monday I do the follow-ups, and then after that, if I don't hear from them, I'll touch in with them on Friday.
Okay.
And then I just consistently stay about every 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And by that point, they're either going to tell you that they're interested in doing something, or they've already gotten in touch with a lender, or they're not interested, or they've moved on to something else.
Yeah. Okay. So last question, what does success look like to you?
Showing up, staying consistent, and staying motivated. That's what success looks like for me, because you can win all day long, you can sell houses all day long, but if you're not in it for the right reasons, how can you stay successful?
Yeah. Love that.
So that for me, that's really what it boils down to.
Okay. Awesome. So open, like, fast fire questions. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Favorite place to travel?
Cayman Islands.
Ooh. Favorite food?
Italian.
Okay. Favorite season?
Summer.
Oh. If you had to pick your favorite color, what would it be?
Blue.
Ooh, I could see that. Okay. Last one. Favorite thing to do on a Friday night?
Depends on the time of the year.
Oh, okay.
So if it's summertime, I really like either going out to eat and sitting on a patio somewhere, or grilling out at home.
Yep.
Hanging out with the kids end of the week. Love that. If it's wintertime, definitely crock pot meal and on the couch.
Oh,
and the sweatpants and jammies.
Yep.
In the fall, Friday night, we do a lot of bonfires at our house. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your information.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay, stay tuned for our next episode of our next guest. See you later.